What's good everybody, Jeff here. This video is part of a series sponsored by Guns of Boom in which I look at the esports scene as a whole. You are watching the second episode and if you haven't seen the first one, I would advise you to watch it before because that's how things work and because it makes sense. In the latest episode, we've seen a bit of Guns of Boom and talked to a member of Team Yakuza. As a reminder, they are the team who won the EU qualifiers, a lovely cash prize of $20,000, and qualified for the grand finals in which they will compete for 10 times more, which is $200,000. And by the way, I will be there at the finals. It takes place in Los Angeles and I've never been there, so I'm very excited to see that. In today's episode, we'll have a chat with Stanis, the head of development for Guns of Boom. You see, the game in itself fits the role of a mobile game. Like, it fits all the codes and what you want to expect from a mobile game. It boots fast, quickly find a game, and won't last longer than 5 minutes. But my question was, what kind of changes did you have to do in order to make the game esport ready? What have you done to give a chance to Guns of Boom to perform into the esports scene? During a meeting with the devs, I was actually surprised to hear that the game was originally planned to go out on PC, but later switched direction and went on mobile, and I think they made the right choice. There's a few game modes, and actually they do a lot of events, almost one every other week. And one that has surprised me a lot is when they worked with Danny Trejo. You know, the actor like the Machete.
Hey gunslingers, today I bring you Trejo Tournament. First place is the only victory here.
Welcome back to the Trejo Tournament.
But his character fits the game. Like, it's a bit of craziness, a bit of little offbeat, and they're doing a good job with content. They communicate a lot about the game development, they are very active with their player base, what's coming next, that kind of stuff, and people actually love it. You can see it from the views. Think of it this way, the recent update we've had on CSGO, the Halloween one, where we got some new maps for the casual modes, we had some fun content, that kind of cool stuff, but in the end, esport-wise, is it helpful? And actually, all of that content, although it is nice to have so the player base never gets bored, doesn't necessarily adds up to create an esports scene, right? It's very clear that there's a will from the devs to make effort towards content, which is why I wanted to see if there's the same amount of effort towards building an esports scene for Guns of Boom.
Hi, my name is Stanis. I'm on the development team in Guns of Boom. I am mostly responsible for working with the community, making videos. I'm in charge of a YouTube channel for Guns of Boom, and I present all sorts of events. And like today, I was an analyst on the desk for esports, so I work a lot with esports too. So that's basically the scope of what I do. I try to keep up with some of the CS esports scene and some of the Overwatch. I do watch different kinds of broadcasts. I don't try to specify somewhere. The thing is, I really want to make the Guns of Boom esports scene as best as possible, as interesting. So I try to soak in anything that I can find that looks good, feels nice.
So the devs seems to be soaking what's around them to help them focus on esport. But one thing I was worried about when they mentioned that they wanted to have an esport scene was the balance of the game. I'm gonna bring some memories and I'm gonna take, for example, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I mean, a lot of us have played the games. Now you don't like, that's another question, but I did play and I tried to compete and go a bit serious in the game. But Jesus Christ, the amount of time I got killed by overpowered weapons like RPGs or the models. Jesus, do you remember the models? Well, obviously the game was poorly balanced and that will drive me crazy, and eventually it made the game obsolete in regards of esport. So my question was, what did you guys do to overcome that issue? Is there anything made to offer a competitive and balanced match of Guns of Boom?
For the competitive scene in Guns of Boom, we decided to make a pro mode, which actually equalizes the health, the armor, and it balances the guns after level 22 to the same power level so that you can use as many as you want. And the health kits and the grenades and consumables are also balanced in a way that it only depends on skill. And there's also no aim assist in the pro mode, so it really pushes you and your skill to play. So for the esports, we designed this pro play mode that allows you to really put a stress on how skilled you are.
Do you use the pro players, like you just had an event with pro players, are you going to use their feedback to improve the esports scene?
We are in contact with all of our pro players and our community managers, talk to them. So of course, any feedback that they have for us, we're going to ask them for it, and we're going to listen to it very carefully.
So they listen to the pro players and have developed a pro mode to make sure that the game has a healthy competition. Speaking of which, we recently had a big drama with Forsaken, an Indian pro player getting caught cheating live on stage. That was insane. And his teammates' faces are priceless. So I wanted to know what kind of anti-cheat measures were in place.
For such events as the EU Invitational or the upcoming Los Angeles Finals, we ask players to play on our devices that are kept here and are kept checked so that there is no possible way to cheat for them, and that's the safety net that we use to keep all these competitions fair and to make the experience as enjoyable as it possibly could be.
Well, that's kind of what I meant during the first episode. I really went there, kind of telling myself that it would be far away from being esport ready. But the more I look into it and the more I see that if you give it a chance, you might be surprised. I've seen some comments on the latest video saying that esport is PC only and that kind of stuff, but actually, why? Why would it be? In the end, any sport could be played with a ball, a hammer, on a chessboard, and the rule changes. I don't watch baseball or cricket, but I don't think less of it as a sport. I'm just not interested. Some others might be, and those others will put the same amount of effort to improve, compete, and be the best. That's what we call sport. In less than 20 days, actually, I will be attending the finals in Los Angeles, and I'm really looking forward to see how everything plays out. I'm going to leave you guys right here with Stanis as I asked him a tricky question. How would you sell mobile esport to someone who doesn't know about?
Mobile esports are right now just as serious esports as the normal esports. They're just coming here. The level of technology, the level of the games themselves is just enough, so there is no need to sell the mobile esports. I feel like they're going to sell themselves, and just this event and the events that are about to come will show our viewers and everybody that mobile games are just as good, just as interesting to watch, and they are pretty amazing for esports, and there's no reason to separate the PC and console esports from the mobile ones. I'll see you on the battlefield.
Alright, that's good.
Thank you.